All right, this is an email that my team designed from scratch in Figma, and I'll show you exactly how to build it. My name is Zach Schieffer. I'm the founder of ZHS Ecom, and my team has generated over $50 million in email and SMS revenue for our GDC clients using this exact design process. I've got 20 of these templates for free. Link is in the video description. And at the end of the video, I'll share answers to all the common FAQs that I get about these emails, why they don't go to spam, how to load them into your email platform, mobile optimization, responsiveness. So let's jump in and let's start designing this email. So when we create this email, we're really thinking about this hierarchy. So we've got the hero header, which we always want to include the offer and the button within that first fold, this first section right here. And then this is a pretty simple one. We've just got 3 products. And in this case, it's an alcohol brand. So we're talking about the aroma and the taste and going through just a few key bullet points about each. So anytime that we create an email in Figma, we hit F on our keyboard to start a frame. So let's start with that. And you can see on my right-hand side, we can make this 600 pixels wide. That's what we always want to create this email at. So this frame right here, as you can see, this is going to be kind of our base. So everything's going to be on top of here. And then let's start creating this hero header. So we're going to start by hitting R just to make a nice simple rectangle, just like that. And then we're aligning this with the brand colors. So we'll hit I on our keyboard to match the colors, just like that. And we'll make it about the same size. And then let's go ahead and let's do the simple stuff first. Let's add in the logo. So I've got all of our assets off to the right-hand side over here. So we'll just grab that logo, bring that guy over, and we'll place it at the very top of the email. You can always align it in the center using these indicators right there. But if we also want to, we can hit that little button in the top right. Okay, so we've got the logo, and we can also change the Y right there just to make sure it's nice and up at the top. Let's wait on these product images. Let's do that last. Let's just add some text here. So very simply, all you need to do is hit T on your keyboard and you can start typing this out, and you can do a bigger header and then a bigger or smaller subheader. So we can make that, let's say 40, wherever we want it to. We can also hit K on your keyboard to kind of adjust the sizing of that. To keep it simple, I'll just copy and paste what we already have over here. We're just copying and pasting that text from our copy document. So we're going to grab that, put it in the middle right there. If you need to space it out, you can always shift it up or down. So let's place that text right there. And then in order to create this button, we can just hit R to make a very simple rectangle. And then I'm hitting to color match it to our brand guidelines. Make sure to select it first. So we're just kind of adding a little button in here. We typically like to keep it about 60 pixels tall, but it's going to depend on your exact brand guidelines. Again, somewhere in that range is a really good place to start. So we'll add that guy into there. And then in this case, we'll add the text. Hitting T on your keyboard to type it out. You can center it. Make sure that these guys are centered right there. You can always do auto layouts and you can do a lot of fun stuff. That's what our designers do, but just to keep it simple, here's what we'll be doing. Okay, so in order to create this background, what you can do is either if you have this as an asset already, you can make a little fun shape like that. But if you wanted to create that little thing from scratch, you need to use a little bit of creativity, but you'll hit L on your keyboard and you're going to start with a little tool called the pen tool. You can start making a fun little design, whatever it is like that. Hit escape to stop. And then you've got a nice little fun design like this, and you can change the stroke. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can kind of color match it, make it brown, whatever you want to do. But in this case, we'll make it sweet, kind of simple like that. I'll actually just grab what my designer did at the start. So we'll grab this little shape right here, and we're going to be placing this kind of in the background. And so the good thing about Figma is that we have these frames. So it's always going to be 600 pixels wide and your image is going to get cut off. So it's going to look nice. You're not going to have this overlap if you put it in here correctly. So let's go ahead and place that kind of where we did originally, just like that. And then these bottles, we're going to do a fun little design here. So what we would do is we would start with the bottle images like this. There's a ton of different tools. You can use Figma to kind of crop out the backgrounds, but we just want to get these 4 bottles in place, and we're going to make it look like this, and we're going to group it. So we'll take these guys right here, and I'll copy them over. So we've got fresh copy for us to use. And then we're going to recreate what we're doing there. So I want to make sure that these are layered properly. So you can see this bottle on the left is underneath this one, which is on top of that one. And this one is on the very top. So we're simply going to match that. And then you can come in here and you can play around with this. You can also use this guy to make sure it's perfectly 90 degrees sideways. And you can play around with these guys right here, or you can just, if you're able to select it, you can shift it around like that. But just to keep things simple, I'll change this guy to right there. So we'll add that at 45 to make it perfect. Put that guy underneath there. And then we'll just kind of use our creativity. Keep that guy, shift him around. This one's off to this side. If you want to make it pixel perfect, you can. And then what we're going to do is we're going to layer this guy on top. So we're going to layer this one right here. We're going to put that guy on top so we can shift these. We can be perfectly 90 degrees and we can put them on top. Let's say if it was on bottom, or if you want to change around the layers, you can definitely do that. So you can go here and then you can bring to front, send to back, whatever you want to, or you can hit these keys on your keyboard, these 2 right there. So that's looking pretty solid. Give this guy, we'll show off this product just a little bit more, and we'll kind of rotate that. Just kind of use our creativity. And there we are. So I'm going to put these into a group. So I'm going to hit Command G, put these guys into a group so I can actually manipulate them all at once. And then if we want to, we can center it like that. All right, we're looking good. So again, in Figma, we're thinking about layers here. We don't want to start putting on these products quite yet. We first want to put in this background. So how we did this background was we started with an image like this that we got from the client's folder. And then we just brought it in. You can bring it in like this, and you can make it a nice background like you see here. We can take this directly. And then since we have a frame, we can take that, plug it in right there into Figma. And then there we are. So we've got a nice little background. If you want to adjust it, if we want a little bit more of that yellow, let's get that guy into there. And then I'm using my keystroke. So I'm hitting basically move to back. So bring to front, we're going to send it to the back. So either way you want to do it, kind of match what we're doing over there. Cool. So we've got a nice background that we took from the client's files. And then same thing, we're going to grab that text. If you need to, hit T on your keyboard, select the right text, but just to keep things moving, we're going to copy and paste right from here. Go ahead and center that guy. All right, so I'm going to create one of these sections. I'm not going to do all 3, just to keep things simple. So how this works is, either this little shape right here, you could either find one online, you can kind of search around, search for these little rectangles. That'd be the simplest way to do it. So we're going to take this little rectangle and we're going to plug it right into here. Just like that. We'll center it again, and then we'll make sure the Y is matching. And then right here, we can do another little rectangle. We're going to bring it to the front, and then we can color match it right there. In this version, I'll make the buttons a little bit wider just for fun. And then you can, again, it's a rectangle and some text. That's about it. Keeping things simple. We'll shop now, and then you can center it there, and then to make sure it's centered within your actual button. All right, and there we are. This right here is just some simple typography that we are going to copy and paste from what we have previous. So you're just typing that out, you're hitting T on your keyboard, I'm making sure to select everything. We're going to plug it in right there. You can make it into a group, and then you can center it and make sure it's perfectly in the center of your rectangle. And then we're going to take that product design that we cropped, and we're going to drag it right into here, just like that. In this case, if we need to move this whole thing down, we can definitely do that. What I like to do is, if we have a background, I like to lock this layer, so that way we know it's already good and it's ready to go. So what you can do is you can select that image, and then you can hit this little lock icon. So that way we can't really move it around anymore. So that, in that case, if we need to shift this guy down just a little bit, we can definitely do that. Or if we need to make it a little bit smaller, let's say it got a little bit too big, you can center it right there. And then we can kind of shift it using, I'm hitting Shift and up on my keyboard. All right. And there we are. That's kind of how we would create one of these little sections. And then you're just going to rinse and repeat. In this case, I'm going to copy and paste from over here, drag that guy over. We'll drag this guy over as well. Let's say you did create these two sections and they're kind of wonky. Let's say they're kind of like that. You can just simply hit that guy right there, and then we can drag them in, make them look a little bit better. And then if we really want to, put this guy as well as a group. Take these three right there, select all three, and then we can hit distribute vertical spacing. So I'm going through it fast, but feel free to pause the video and rewind. Kind of just follow me keystroke for keystroke if you need to. All right, so we're shifting this around again. We're making sure that as we select all of these guys, if we need to distribute vertical spacing, we can do that, and we can play around with this in Figma to make sure that it's perfectly spaced out and easy for the user to navigate. So there we are. That's really the bulk of this email. Pretty simple, just some rectangles, a little bit of a cutout, but I would just try to find some nice images online for those. And then finally here with this footer, if we want to make a little rectangle, we can do that. Color match it by hitting I on our keyboard, selecting it first. And then again, this guy is going to be 600 wide, so we can match it just like that. And then all we would simply do is add a little bit of text. You can find some image icons online. And then these guys right here will just be little rectangles. So same thing with these buttons. Let's say if you wanted to invert the colors, you just select your original button. And then what you can do is on the right-hand side, you can add a stroke, just like there. We'll add a little white stroke. Make sure you can see it. There we go. And then remove the fill. And there you go. You've got the button. Got 1, 2, and 3. And then if you need to group it, I'm hitting Shift to select all of them. And then if you want to play around with an auto layout, you can hit Shift A, and you can kind of play around with the spacing just like that if you need to. And then as per usual, you can always center these guys right there. So that is our final designed email. A couple things that I always get asked. Number one is, how do you export and load these into Klaviyo and MailChimp? So what we do is we build the whole email basically as images. We slice the design in Figma. You hit S on your keyboard and you make little slices. And then we take those little slices and you compress every single slice using imagecompressor.com. So what that looks like in practice is you've got your fully nice designed email. We're going to lock it, and then we're going to hit S on our keyboard. We're going to make little slices like this. And then we're going to go in here, and wherever you want your slice to be, we recommend no more than 800 pixels tall. So just about like that. You're going to go in here, and then you can hit export. We typically do 2x, just like that. And then you can export that little slice. And then another one is going to be like right here. So this will be like link number 1 is slice number 1, link number 2 is slice number 2. And then I'm copying and pasting those slices, moving them throughout this email. And as you can see, like each of this is going to be like a this whole entire section is going to be linked. So even if someone clicks up here, they're going to go to the website. If they click over here, they're going to hit the website. That's how we typically do it. And then what we have here is we have this is actual HTML text. So this little portion that you can see, that's HTML text, and the rest of all your footer is all HTML text versus images. You don't have to do it all in the top of the email. This top part is going to be all images. Bottom part will be actual HTML text for deliverability purposes. So as I mentioned, we slice the emails first, compress all those slices, just go into image compressor, and then you take all those compressed images, plug them into the drag and drop editor as image blocks, and then you add links, you add alt text, and then you make sure that you have footer has live text for deliverability purposes, as I mentioned. And that leads me to the question, will my image-based emails go to spam? No, we've had dozens and dozens of clients that combined have generated over $50 million with our emails, and emails not go to spam. They only go to spam when you have a poor sender reputation, you have poor list quality, you don't have good authentication, you're not sending to engaged segments, you're sending to your whole entire list. All of those are major issues. It's not really to do with the images in the emails. There's a ton of massive brands that send image-based emails and they make a ton of money. It's not the images, it's really everything else about your email marketing. And that's specifically how we help brands. And that's what we do for a living. So as long as you follow everything I mentioned in here, warm up your domain, clean your list regularly, do all these fun stuff that I mentioned in these two videos, you're not going to hit spam. Figma, not Canva. At the end of the day, Figma is the most professional, customizable, and easiest to use and collaborate with. All these things that we talk about, it's way more difficult to do in Canva. I've got a whole video right here that you can look up that breaks down exactly why. Finally is the design responsive. So yes, it's going to look great on mobile and desktop. I'm answering both questions here. The reason that we design these at 600 pixels wide is that all of this text is going to look really good on mobile. And because we designed it on mobile first, it's going to be big. We've got big clickable buttons. We've got easily readable text. It's going to look good on desktop too. If we designed it for desktop first, it wouldn't necessarily look good on mobile, but since we do it in mobile first, it's going to look great on both mobile and desktop. Finally, are the buttons clickable? Yes, everything, the whole entire email is clickable. We do it for all the reasons that we mentioned above. At the end of the day, if you want all of these 20 plus templates in a free Figma file, it's available on Figma and Canva. I've got 20 different templates that you can go ahead and download for free. Link is in the video description. Last but not least, if you're running a D2C brand and you want pretty emails like these that convert and don't go to spam, feel free to book a call at zhs-ecom.com. Speak with me and we can talk about your email marketing and where you guys are at and where you're looking to go. And if it makes sense, we can talk about how we can help. So appreciate the time.